Okay. I'm just going live and talking about it. What's up? Oh, hi Blank. How you doing? We're gonna be testing some stuff today. Let's see. As long as I have you open over there and you open right there, it'll be good. Okay. So the vertical stream and the regular stream are both live right now, I think. Let's hope that nothing crashes today. Oh, I didn't start up chat. Okay, well, whoops. Whoops. Give me 1 second on that. You sound sick? No, this is my norming voice. I mean, I have some stomach issues right now. That's what's happening. So I'm not feeling like super great, but you know what? That's okay. Sometimes you just gotta power through and it's fine. Well, welcome on in, Blank, Dark Wolf, Eleanor, Jose. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. That rhymed and I didn't mean for it to, but you know what? That's okay. We are just vibing. Oh, you know what? I just realized is this not gonna work? Make sure to drink more water. Oh, trust me, I'm drinking water. It's fine. We are drinking a lot of water. I can tell you that much. Let me see. I forgot because my computer blue screened. I have to reset everything. Oh, that's so annoying. Give me 1 second. I should have done this before stream, but I wasn't thinking about it. Because I just expected it to work and not just die on me. But you know what? This is where we're at, I guess. Okay, I fixed it. We're good. We're good. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's hop in over here, shall we? Welcome on in, everyone. Oh, chat is still not working. Okay, well, that's good to know, I guess. But I hope everyone's having a good Saturday so far. We're just getting some things set up real quick. Bada bing. And voila. Let there be... maybe let there be chat. Okay. There should be chat now. There should be chat behind us. Actually, do you know what? We should go here. We should go here. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. My cat is by my shoulder. Should I do what he's telling me to do? Yes, do it. For now, I'd always do it forever. Actually, this isn't quite the right vibes of music today. Maybe once we get into actually talking about stuff, we'll do this. But we need a little bit more energetic for right now. You know what? Let's listen to Floofy Fawn. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now that's better. That's better. Look, if you guys didn't want Scuff, you wouldn't be here. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, the plan for today, everyone, assuming my stomach allows it, is that we're going to talk about D&D character creation stuff. Because I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of fun shenanigans to go over with it. And by the way, I've even created a new, like, short scene for the vertical stream viewers that are just chilling over there. I actually don't know if there are any today, but... Wait, did I actually make that stream go live? I think I did, right? I did. Oh, okay. Wait, why did, oh no, why does that stream have, okay. I messed it up. Why does it have a different thumbnail? It's not supposed to have that thumbnail. That's really funny. Let me fix that real quick. It didn't change it. That's funny. Okay. There we go. Look, we're just settling into our scuff. Having some shenanigans. It's gonna be good times. It's gonna be good times. But there are some fun stuff to talk about. So as you guys might have seen, I made the first video in commentary style yesterday. I'm just gonna kind of pump those out whenever I feel like talking about things that I don't really want to go over too much on stream, or maybe I do want to go over them on stream. I don't know. I'm kind of fickle about that, but I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna put those out whenever I kind of feel like it. I'm not really expecting too much from them, but hey, if you guys like them, then that's great. That's wonderful. But something that did happen with that is yesterday in that video, I talked about a company called Nexus and another app called AnyLive, which is like a phone-based VTubing thing. And this company had all of the, they're having 27 debuts over the course of 3 days, which is crazy to me, by the way. That is actually insane. 27 debuts is hilariously crazy to me. But you know what? Good for them. But they did it on this phone app that you can't even get unless you download through Test Pilot, which I thought was funny. And the funny thing is the app actually looks pretty good. The app genuinely looks kind of good. I was surprised. I was very surprised. You give it a week before it crashes and burns? I would give it more than that, honestly. Because, okay, so here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Sorry, I'm still also slightly waking up. I don't know how many of you know about this, but do any of you know about Reality? Also, I'm just, okay, good. That is working. Awesome. So there's a little app called Reality. It's a phone-based VTubing app. I've actually made a video on it in the past, like a long time ago now. And it's a phone-based VTubing app, and it's made for the more of that casual audience. You know, it's, you have your model on there, or you make a model on there, you stream, people can send you gifts. But it's all phone-based. It does tend towards a younger demographic. Hey, what's up, Ray? But it's a very functional app, and it actually makes quite a lot of money. And then there's another one that Cozy was telling me about last night, which is called, it's like Irium. Yeah, Irium. That's what it's called. And it's really popular in Japan because you can upload your own model to it. You can move around, you know, it's like very casual style streaming. Because, you know, you're just streaming with your phone. People are watching on their phone. They can send you gifts. It's very reminiscent of TikTok live streams is what it feels like. You know, fun effects, stuff like that. Just in general, like good time. But Reality is the 3D version. AnyLive wants to be 2D. Talking about the Nexus thing? Yeah. Well, actually, we're just talking about AnyLive right now. Nexus, I don't know if there's too much to talk about with Nexus, if I'm being perfectly honest. But like Analive is pretty good. Oops, there we go. I was just pinning the comment on the other one. So it's looking pretty good. It actually handled users pretty well. The animations are a little too over the top for me. I'm not a really big fan of it. So I don't know how, like, but like those are all things they can tweak. They just need to make the animations a little less intrusive. They need to obviously get out of the alpha phase so you can actually download it without going through test pilot. There's a lot of interesting things about it, and as long as they know their audience, which it sounds like they do, because I've heard from people who have talked to them that they're not trying to be a replacement streaming platform. Because I think that's how you fail, is if you try to replace Twitch and YouTube. Because at this point, you're just not going to, right? Like it's not going to happen. There's no shot you ever replace them at this point. But, you know, if you do want to just do quick phone streams and you let your audience know that, like, hey, we're just going to do like a really short just chatting stream, you know, via phone on this app, you know, that's a market. And honestly, I know probably everyone here doesn't necessarily like or want to think about this phone app doing very well, but coming from my point of view, where, as you guys know, I used to make a lot of tutorials, one of the most asked questions by far was, how do you do a TikTok stream or a mobile stream with VTubing? Because a lot of people want it. A lot of people want to do it. So it's a streaming app? Yeah, it's a streaming app. But it's supposed to be more of like a fun, haha, hee hee vertical, or, you know, VTubing streaming app. That's all they're trying to be. They're not trying to replace things. It's just, you know, if you don't want to go live on TikTok, well, you go live on this thing. And there you go. So there's definitely an audience for it. 100%. 100%. It's just a question of how long will it take them to make it real? Because right now you can only join them through closed alpha, and you can only how are you changing your font? I didn't know you could do that. That's so weird. I don't like the font. It makes it harder to read. Oh gosh. But yeah, I don't know. Anilive has some promising things going for it. I'm curious to see how it'll do in the long run. It'll at least do better than VStream, but then again, that's not a real high bar. Oh, poor VStream. VStream wanted to be so cool. It wanted to be the hip new VTuber thing, but it was competing in the wrong market. It wanted to be cool. It really did. Oh gosh. But, you know, like I said, we'll see how it does. Let's see what other shenanigans were happening. I don't think too much else happened. Yeah, I don't know. We'll probably just hop into talking about D&D stuff really fast this time, because I feel like I got a lot of my yapping out of the way on Thursday, you know? All right, so wait, I actually I want you guys to give me your opinions, because, you know, you guys, how many of you are on phones, out of curiosity? How many of y'all are on phones? I imagine there's at least a couple of you, right? Okay, I want your guys' opinion. Oh, hey, Zatham, how you doing? Okay, I want your guys' opinion. Anyone who's on a phone, I'm going to swap to the new scene, and I want you guys to tell me how you think it looks. I tried to map out some stuff in Photoshop to make the shorts stream for today actually try to look decent. So tell me if you guys, so there's the short stream. I'm going to swap over to the new scene. I want you guys to tell me if you think it looks good. That is the wrong one. There we go. That's the right one. Oh, I should probably turn off this. Ignore the chatter thing. It's not on today. What's up, Remy? How you doing? I think it looks okay. I think it looks okay, but I want your guys' opinion. I made it to try and avoid chat covering anything, as well as YouTube being above my head covering anything. So I think it's better than normal. It is a long dresser, you know, let's not discount that. But I think visually it looks better, right? Maybe, like, I want your guys' honest opinions. Personally, I would prefer the floofy face to be bigger in vertical view. I can do that. I can make myself bigger in vertical view. I think. Yeah, I can go whoop. There, now I'm bigger. Checked my phone, looks okay. The YouTube comments still try to cover stuff, but it's the best you'll get. Yeah, so I actually sat down with Cozy for a long time. Like, we were talking for a couple hours last night about vertical stuff. Like, trying to come up with ideas for, like, new formats, new ways of making it look nicer. By the way, Cozy's vertical stream for today looks so baller. Oh my gosh, I'm actually a little jealous. I'll say I'm a little jealous of how she got her stream today to look, because it's so good. It is amazing. Like, trust me, if you guys check out Cozy today, you will enjoy it. It's pretty great. But anyways, we're gonna talk about D&D stuff. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. Poof, I'm back over here. Nice. Welcome back. Also, I think is YouTube's view system broken again? I think it is. Because there are more people talking in chat than it says there are viewers. So it is very much broken. Hey, what's up, Jackadoo? How you doing? YouTube's just been interesting. It's fine though. I'm not worried too much about it. So yeah, today we're gonna talk about character backstories, and kind of like what we did earlier this week. I'm just gonna kind of yap about how I do stuff. And yeah. What the heck is short stream? Will. Hi. That's a short stream. What's your favorite type of character to create? Okay, so I go back and forth between a lot of things. Fear me. Thank you for the 20 months, Zatham. I appreciate it. Is now the real question is, are alerts broken? That's the real question, because I don't know. I'm gonna go with yes, they are broken. But thank you for being a Lord of Scuff for 20 months. And Remy for 7 months. I super appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. And alerts are absolutely broken or they're super delayed. Because they are active. I did double check. They are active. Thank you, thank you. The memberships help me out so much more than you guys know. Murder, thank you for the 19 months. Let's go. Full paw this year. Subaru, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Especially since I might have to buy a new hard drive again. Because I think my primary hard drive's dying on me. I've never played D&D, but I know people who have. Eleanor, thank you for the 2 months membership. Wow, everything's hitting all at once. Let's freaking go. Thank you, thank you. Yep, RIP hard drive. It blue screened on me twice yesterday. I was really scared that I wasn't going to be able to stream today. At least hard drives are cheap. Yeah, but I'm more scared about losing data. I'm paranoid about it. I actually re-backed up most things last night. After stream ends today, I'm backing up everything. So funny story, before we start talking about lore. I actually paid for the $50 Google Drive for this month so that I could upload everything. So I have 10 terabytes of Google Drive space. So I'm uploading all of it. I have an SSD. I'm going to upgrade to M.2 probably. Or actually, no, that's probably not true. I'm probably just going to get a nice SSD. Because they're still good. But I'm super paranoid about it. Like, I already had backups. But now I have backups upon backups. But I'm backing up literally everything. So when I install it, because it's my OS hard drive. And the thing that's installed on my OS hard drive is ChaosBot and all of the ChaosBot data. So I'm very scared about losing ChaosBot because, actually, I'm not actually scared about losing ChaosBot. I've got all the code. It was just a royal pain in the neck to reset it up for the coding environment after reinstalling. So I just don't want to do that again. But I'm going to have to. So, it is what it is. I gotta go, Ray. Sorry, I might be back later. Okay, see you later, Dark Wolf. But time to remake it from scratch and compile. I don't want to make ChaosBot from scratch. Legitimately, if I lost ChaosBot at this point, like for real, I would just stop selling it. Like, I'd make it free. Anyone could download the current version. I'm not gonna fix it. I would still make one for myself, but I would not make it available for other people at that point. I would just be making it for just the stream. Because remaking that, like, what's the sheer amount of time I've put into making ChaosBot is actually mind-boggling. Like, we're probably closing in on 500 to 600 hours of work. Now, granted, I could probably remake it in a fraction of that time. Now, okay, I know it sounds like a lot of time, because it is, but a lot of that was also teaching myself programming, just in general. So, look at D&D Part 2. No, this is more like D&D Part, 20. Imagine you stayed up late last night. I did. Because I was backing stuff up because I was freaking out about it. But But yeah, Chaos Bot literally has been a major portion of my content career for the last 2 years, is learning more and upgrading it and making it as best as I possibly can. So I would be very depressed if I lost Chaos Bot. I would be so depressed, man. It would be so bad. Oh gosh. You know? But it's fine. I gotta run away for now and show if I'll be back. The cats want me to sin. Alright, well, don't have too much fun, Eleanor. Thank you once again for the renewed membership. Memberships are kind of what are keeping the lights on for now, guys. Ever since the lore stuff got moved to its own channel, we barely make the YouTube payout anymore. Oh gosh. Though funnily enough, the lore channel is actually it's getting closer to remonetizing itself, which I think is funny because I literally didn't do anything other than just re-upload everything over there. True, that R&D is enough to pay for college tuition. Oh gosh. But yeah, if you guys want to become members, it's only $1. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, I gotta shill every now and then. But let's actually talk about some character backstory stuff, shall we? I mean, that's what the whole stream is supposed to be. It's been a half hour already. Oh my gosh, where did time go? All right, I gotta remember to not move the screen because I have it set up perfectly for the short stream. Backstories, woo! Okay, so I don't know how most people come up with backstories for characters, but the way that I do it, because most of the time this is for Dungeons and Dragons. This is for like an RPG, right? I'm going to be going into this with the intent of playing a character and knowing that I'll need to do a variety of things. Because, okay, so my main thing when it comes to playing Dungeons and Dragons with a group is I don't ever want to feel useless. And I don't ever want to just be twiddling my thumb whenever the group does anything. Also, welcome on in. Gotcha, Kitty. How you doing? Because, again, the group that I played with was not... Okay, well, I played with 2 groups. Primarily. One group is very heavy into, like, combat. They very much want to go on an adventure, fight stuff, kill things, all that jazz. The other group I play with is a lot more roleplay heavy, where they want to, you know, explore character concepts and, you know, have a little bit less time doing combat and more times, like, we have a lot of discussions about stuff and things in that group. So what I am building for each group kind of depends on who, you know, I will build 2 very different characters. Even if they have like the same overall character build, I will not put in as much time for the combat group as I will for the roleplay group for pretty obvious reasons, right? Like, I feel like anyone who makes intricate backstories that are never discussed ever in a game, it just feels bad. And I think we can all agree on that. So I like to play to the level of the group and only make things as in-depth as everyone else is making things. So, for example, there was one campaign where we were playing as the good guys. We were doing, it was like an undead campaign. We're going on, it was like a murder mystery / undead campaign. So, as is somewhat usual, I made a paladin. You guys have to deal with my really bad mouse handwriting because my tablet is dunzo. So I made a paladin, and the full extent of her backstory was her name was Valtira. She was an Oath of Vengeance paladin, because that's like the super combat-y archetype in Pathfinder. And more importantly, they're big, like the Path of Vengeance paladin. For those of you who haven't played Pathfinder, when you are a regular paladin, if you do things against your deity, you lose your powers. Oath of Vengeance paladins are specific. When you get into specific oaths for characters, for paladins, again, specifically, there's like Oath of Charity, Oath of da-da-da, and like, so if you have an Oath of Charity, you have to give away like 10% of your gold to helping people out, right? Out of the goodness of your heart. But the Oath of Vengeance is never let a lesser evil prevent you from combating a greater evil. So they're like the monster hunters that will deal with corrupt guards so that they can go kill, you know, the shambling horror just over the hill, right? And I liked that because that let me fit in with the super combat-y group of because I feel like a lot of groups have a lot of problems with paladins because guess what? Players don't like being necessarily the most ethical things on the planet. Maybe you've had experience with that, but they don't always do the right thing. I got 2 notifications of the same stream. Well, one's horizontal, one's vertical. That's why I got you, kitty. So if you've ever been with a group, that's, you know, you can vouch. You know, we all know. Players like being a little murder hobo, especially if they like combat. They like doing dubious things. And when there's paladins or like clerics or things that like are supposed to be the good guys, yeah, it causes some tension in the group because if they just want to be murder hobos, they're just going to be murder hobos. There's literally nothing they can do about it, or you can do about it. You know, there is nothing you can do about it. But the Vengeance Paladin let me be like, oh, we need to make a deal with the vampires to go kill that like lich overlord over there. Yeah, we can do that. I will eventually come back to hunt down the vampires, but you know, for the time being, we can play nice with them. And again, a lot of this was based off of the style of combat that I wanted to play, because again, since this was a more combat focused group, everyone was like, oh, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. So I actually came up with what the character does first. I'll ignore the police, I guess, which are just nearby. Can you guys hear that? Oh, it's really close. It's really close, actually. Huh. I wonder what they're doing. Huh. But so I started with the character concepts, or the type of combat first. So in this case, I knew she was going to use a bow. She was going to be an archer. And she was going to run around and be the slayer of evil. And turns out paladins in that campaign are really, really freaking strong. Like to an insane level. Because when you're fighting things that are obviously evil all the time, paladins just get to smite things for forever. And it was great. And I was super broken. I was super overpowered in that campaign. I was actually so powerful that the DM pulled me aside. I was like, hey, can we like have Valtira go off on her own side adventure and you bring in a new character, because you're literally just killing everything. And it's kind of a problem. I was like, okay, you know what, fine. She actually ended up coming back later because the group just couldn't kill things. But her That's a funny story. No fist user? Well, actually, there's a funny story about that. I know I've told this before, but there's a reason why my favorite character of all time is still Valtira. Because, you know, she's supposed to be this paladin. Her backstory is just that, I forget what it was that killed her parents. Because, you know, of course it had to be a tragic backstory, right? But like some monster killed her parents. She became a paladin of Iomede and sworn vengeance to, you know, cleanse the world of evil, basically. A very simple backstory. Didn't think about it too much. Of course, it had to be the parents who died. Yeah, I mean, of course. Like the point of Oath of Vengeance is you're actually supposed to be like very dialed in on cleansing, like removing evil from the world, because I feel like most of the time paladins are seen as like this righteous crusader and stuff, but I think there's a lot that you can do with them where, like, I view paladins as being like they're supposed to be the good ones, like the good guys that are just helping out people. You know, they are slayers of evil, but they are, you know, for the most part, they're like, oh, they're trying to help out like the local militia, they're helping out people in need when they see them, like they are generally good people. But Oath of Vengeance is, I don't give a crap about your charity work. I want to go rid the world of the skeletons that are killing people. Like, that's what I care about, right? So that was, I didn't think too long and hard about it. Because again, this was a campaign where I knew I wasn't going to really be able to explore it too much. And I'd rather let the character kind of emerge as we play rather than trying to come up with it up front. Because again, you know, I knew that people wouldn't really care, you know. But the reason why Valtira will forever be my favorite is because there was a section during the campaign where we ran into werewolves. And in Pathfinder, werewolves are unilaterally evil. Because it's a curse that once you get bit, like you become chaotic evil, you become rules is written in Pathfinder. When you get bit by a werewolf, you're basically, your character's done so. But we needed to, so there was a big section of this campaign where it was like dealing with a bunch of werewolves, but we didn't actually need to do anything about the werewolves. We needed to get past them to go kill like a different set of werewolves because they had the information that we needed and the item that we needed to eventually like deal with the final boss, right? So when we got to the werewolves, my Valtira was very knowledgeable about monsters and stuff because like that's her job, right? Like she's supposed to be the slayer of evil creatures and shenanigans. So of course she knew about stuff. But this particular werewolf tribe was very honorable, or not honorable, but very, what's the right word? They respected strength, like physical strength, right? And so we were surrounded and it was going to be a really tough fight. And then I was like, you know what? Valtira's the archer, by the way, she's not a fist fighter, she is an archer, was like, oi, boss, you and me, 1v1, no weapons, let's go. And so yeah, she fist fought the local leader of the werewolves and won. Because guess what? Paladins are really good at fighting someone 1v1. So they didn't use their claw, or they wouldn't use their bite. I wouldn't use my bow, which was my primary weapon, but we were still allowed to use our other abilities. So I could smite them. Also, welcome on in, Empress. I could smite them and heal myself because paladins are really good at, again, paladins are really, really strong one-on-one. And so even though I definitely should have lost that if I was literally any other character, she managed to beat up the boss enough or like the local leader enough to get them to respect her, right? And it was the funniest moment because I'm like, do I even have a chance? And then I realized, like, I kind of have a chance if I blow all of my abilities for the day in this one fight. And so I did. And so I fist fought a werewolf and that and earned their respect. Fist fights are what, like 1d3/d6 plus 3d8, 3 to 8. Well, it depends. So at this point in time, we were level 7, and the way paladins work, so normally in D&D, if you're a medium-sized creature, which is what like humans are, and she was a human, if you're not trained in punching people, you do a d4 plus your strength. If you're trained, you do like a d6 or like monks do a lot more damage, but and it's all non-lethal. So like you can't even kill someone with a fist fight if you're not trained in it. Now paladins, on the other hand, though, paladins have this glorious ability called smite. And smite only works on evil creatures. But what smite does is it adds your charisma and your level to your damage. It also adds your charisma to your attack modifier. And guess what? Valtira was a very high charisma paladin, because paladins' main stat in Pathfinder, aside from their main attacking stat, their casting stat is charisma. So it needs to be high for them to even be able to do their spells and stuff. And since we're at a certain point in the game, like I had items that buffed my charisma even more. So instead of doing 1d4 plus like 1, which is what her strength was, she was not very strong. She was very nimble because, again, she's an archer. So archers use dexterity in Pathfinder. It didn't matter that her strength was low because all of her damage is based off of her charisma, which was very high. So she's a very high dex, high charisma character. And turns out that is a very lethal combination because I also had the feat that lets me use my dex to attack. So even though I am not trained in fist fighting, I was very, very good at punching this werewolf to pieces. It was awesome. So instead of doing like 1d4 plus 1, I was doing 1d4 plus like 11 or something ridiculous because they were chaotic evil, which means I was doing like double damage to them because I was lawful good, and it was crazy. So even though like my bonus to hit them was high, so I was hitting them hard. The problem was that they were hitting me back just as hard, but I could heal with basically swift actions so I could punch them and then heal, punch them and then heal, punch them and then heal, punch them and then heal. It was great. It was awesome. It was so much fun. But it's a good thing that the DM kind of threw me a bone, because if the fight had gone to the death, the werewolf absolutely would have won, because I was running out of resources. I was spending so many resources just to fight them. But because of that, you know, we now had new werewolf-ish buddies. Again, keep in mind, like, they're still evil. We still don't like them. They're still causing problems. But at that point in time, we're like, wait, but you're not the actual main problem. So can you just let us go deal with that problem, and so we can go deal with the final boss over there? And they were like, yeah, okay, you earned our respect, so we're just going to do that. And I think that messed with the DM a little bit, because we were running a module and it expects you to deal with the werewolves, right? Like the werewolf problem in the area. But again, us being players, we didn't necessarily care about dealing with all the werewolves. Like, that wasn't really our fight. We didn't care for it. We just needed to get through their territory to go deal with this other werewolf so that we could get his item so we could go deal with the boss elsewhere. It was it was a whole thing. We made friends, we hated them and wanted to kill them, but they just let it slide because you were strong. Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's also because we were honorable. We said we were going to do what we did. And I think that's an interesting thing, because like the party was expecting me just to want to kill the werewolves. But again, because I'm an Oath of Vengeance paladin, right? Part of my whole deal is like, I can let lesser evils slide if I think that dealing with the greater evil is more important, which by the way, at this point we knew that the big bad was trying to like basically kill an entire nation. So letting some werewolves run rampant in a countryside, but it lets us go take out the giant skeletal army like a couple days faster and potentially save thousands of lives. Yeah, that's a pretty easy call. That was an easy call to make. Now we would eventually come back and you know, deal with them. Or at least that was the plan if we had done like post-campaign stuff. But I kept a note of every enemy we fought that we had to make a deal with, because again, Valtira is not about to just let evil stay in the world. No, once we go and take care of the big bad guy, she's gonna come back and deal with them. Hey, what's up, Pumpkin? How you doing? This actually came up again later in the campaign because we had to make a deal with some vampires who are also just straight up evil. And so she had every intention of coming back to just obliterate all the vampires as well. Oh, I love Valtira. She was so aggressive. But she was fair. She was fair. Because there was another part of that campaign where we had to like defend a monster in court and prove that it wasn't this monstrosity. So like someone made a flesh golem and it gained sentience, and it was very upset that it gained sentience, but it was getting blamed for doing all these murders around town because, you know, its body was made up of their corpses, right? Like that's kind of like, But I mean, of course, it was the person who created the monster that was the problem. The actual like golem itself that had gained sentience wasn't. It was. I mean, it was functionally innocent. So even though it was this horrible thing, you know, and everyone else was just like, oh, let's just kill it. Valtira was like, no, it didn't actually do anything wrong. We got to protect this thing. And we actually had to fight off an angry mob that tried to kill it, which I thought was funny. We had to do a lot of non-lethal shenanigans to try and beat the mob back. I remember one of the ways that we did it is I had a spell that would like make a huge blinding light. It's supposed to be like a signal flare, but I kept on firing those into the crowd to make them. I was basically flashbanging the crowd to make them go away. Yeah, we had like this. We had a little flesh golem buddy that was super grotesque, and you know, it was not pretty to look at. But the point is because of her character, and she's a paladin, like the creature, though absolutely made of grotesque, like of evil origin, did not actually do anything itself. So she protected it until we could get it out of the city. We actually won the trial. But we got it out of the city. We let it go live its life because it didn't want to hurt people. It knew what it was, and it was very upset by this. So, hey, what's up, Fume? Yeah, we're talking D&D. So yeah, that's the story of how we fought in court to make a sentient flesh golem not guilty, because it wasn't guilty. It actually joined our party for a little bit because we had it help us go kill its creator as recompense. And then we had a flesh golem buddy for a little while. It was a lot of fun. What else happened in that campaign? I just love Valtira. Valtira is probably my favorite character that I've ever had. Because, again, guys, I just like being a paladin. I like being the good guy. And Valtira was the first time that I, like, kind of pushed myself to be like, okay, how can I expand on just being a paladin concept, right? How can I expand on making it like, so I'm just doing what's right and stuff. I want to take it a step further. I want to see you know, what flavors of paladin there are out there, you know? And I think I did a pretty good job of it. So, let's see. What else is there? Oh, let me give you an example of a different character now. This one had a lot more thought process into it. And, yeah, this character I actually really like to do an accent for. Because he spawned in a PvP game, and then I liked the concept so much that I've used him a couple other times in different games. Depending on where he is. The first game was supposed to be like fantasy or like alternate Earth, but his name was Boris Luchenko. He was a medical doctor. He has a very weird way of talking, and I don't know what accent this could even be construed as, but I'm very consistent with it. He also says my friend a lot. My friend. Does Oath of Pacifists exist? That's funny. But so good old Boris. I love Boris. Sounds Russian. I don't know what it was supposed to be, because like it slightly alters every time I end up using it. But like I don't know, I love him so much, because so he was he's a character that I did a lot more work on to like make into a more interesting and unique character. A weak Russian. I don't know what I oh wait, what oh, there was a V, but I don't know what I like to speak with him, but this was the accent that I ended up using quite a bit. And he would end every sentence when talking to someone new with my friend, or opening me like, my friend, there is no problem here, I can take care of that for you. So I don't know what accent that is. It's just kind of like a weird mishmash of stuff. It changes a little bit every time I use it, so it's not like super consistent. But his big thing is he was a medic, and I've translated this into several other concepts. But basically his whole thing, I actually had like a whole history for him, because he was like a war vet. He grew up like he had this really big long backstory about how growing up he was always a little weird. He liked to tinker with medical things. He liked to combine things. He was very unethical, a bit of a psychopath. Like to do experiments on living things, was hired by various governments to make chemical warfare. Like he was not a good guy. He's a lawful evil guy in most campaigns I play him in. And so he does a lot of weird stuff. The normal stuff. Yeah, he is chemical warfare. Like he's the type of person that, like, let's say you need a surgery from him, right? If he can do it without anesthesia, he's gonna do it, because it'd be faster. Or like, so there's a new variant of him in a game that I'm currently playing, and he's an alchemist, because this is set in D&D now. And he actually has archetype called the Reckless Epicurean, where he kind of just mishmashes stuff together and tries it all the time. It's great. It's wonderful. Hey, what's up, Dingo? And so, like, for instance, one thing he did, he's, we needed to get past a certain moment. We need to extract information. Well, guess what? Boris, or in this case, Nakan, he's quite adept with the heal skills, so therefore he can torture quite effectively. He has great experience with doing so, even. And yeah, so he's definitely tortured a couple people so far. But Whenever I make like these kind of deranged characters, I do my best to build into their backstory that they are very like very much have a code. Because one thing you never want to do with backstories is, I know a lot of people love making unhinged characters. I like making unhinged characters. I like playing unhinged characters, but you never want to make characters that don't work with a group. So even if you want to make the Joker, right? Or, you know, some other insert insane character here, always give them a reason to work with a group. Because this is going to make all of your, like, this will let you fit in with the session. Because there's so many stories of people making like rogues, or people making like all these different characters that are very, very selfish. And what that leads to is, unfortunately, it erodes the group dynamic. Because this one character always gets what they want, and the other players feel bad for having to try and solve in-game problems out of game. It's just not fun. It's just not fun. So I always give them a reason to the group. And in this case, what was his? Oh, this game happened to be an amnesia game where everyone in the group had amnesia. And so it was kind of like out of necessity that they all formed a bond. But now that they've been together for so long and they don't know anything other than each other, there's like this super tight-knit group, and our whole group is like die hard loyal to each other. And it's awesome because that's a really fun dynamic, even though we're all kind of psychos. The needlessly edgy rogue that metagames the shit, everything. Yeah, basically that's not a fun group dynamic. And anyone who's played with one knows that. But Boris is probably my second favorite character of all time. He's just fun. I like making him the healer in a lot of different scenarios. I've used him a couple times because it's really fun for him just to be the no nonsense. You know, he's the no nonsense healer. He's like, oh, you need surgery? Well, I have a rusty knife right here. I can take care of that for you. And then he does, and he absolutely does just take care of it for you. It's not great, it's not wonderful, but he does it. Oh gosh. Freaking love Boris. Boris is so good. But let's see. Let's talk about, you know, I've talked about characters I've made in the past. Let's talk about if I wanted to make a character today. Like what would be the steps I would go through? So I think the first thing I would do when designing a character is go for the overall idea. Like, what is the vibe that you want to go for, you know? I saw a short story character was a space clown. I know exactly who you're talking about. It's pretty funny. So overall ideas, this is how you want the character to feel or come across to other people. If you're an artist and you're drawing a character, this is probably where you'd be like, okay, what emotions or ideas do I want to evoke by someone seeing it? But in D&D, it's what do you want people to associate you with? Because it's going to be how you're acting, how you want to play the character. And this gives you an idea of what you can do in character that will help build a story rather than just you rolling dice. So like, let's keep it simple, and let's say that you want to be a world famous like slayer or hunter. You want to be a world known, ignore my really bad handwriting, dragon slayer, right? This is a very arbitrary thing. I figured out how an oath of pacifism would work. you would only tank and heal and block, no grappling. As long as you don't actively engage in antics, you get divine protection. That's funny. And welcome on in, John. How you doing? So like, you want to be a world-renowned dragon slayer, right? You want that to be your shtick. You're always hunting the next big thing. What this can do is this can first inform. Again, now this is all within the context of you playing a game. Because mechanics, better or worse, do affect how you play the game, especially if you're playing with other people. This will let you look at things like figuring out what class you are, what abilities you can have, and these two can flavor your overall personality. So for instance, if if the overall idea is you want to be a dragon slayer, but you want to do it by shooting arrows, well, guess what? Picking a class that lets you, like for in this case, ranger, would be great, because it has a bunch of abilities to hunting very specific targets. And so you could fill out your character with like, okay, so you're an archer, which means you are a little less eager to be up in the front lines. You want to study the surroundings. You want to find good vantage points where you can shoot things easily. So you're probably a little bit more cautious when it comes to taking a fight. Because if you're fighting something as intelligent as dragons, at least in Pathfinder, were very, very intelligent. And so you couldn't just run up to them, because often they would like trap their own lair. They would be able to cast spells from afar. So setup was very required. So you can use, so by the way, all we've done, we haven't really even come into talking about what our actual backstory is. These are just mechanical game choices, which help flavor how our character would be. Because if, again, think about the thing you want to be doing and think about what your character would need to know how to do the things. And pick your abilities around that thing. Obviously, you should talk with your DM and ask, what is the campaign going to be about? You know, like what is the campaign going to be about? Because obviously, don't pick being a dragon slayer in a game that's all about killing undead. It's just not going to be fun. If all of your abilities are themed around killing dragons and you never find a dragon, you're just going to feel bad. So don't set yourself up for failure. Just talk to your GM. Be like, hey, I want to be like a renowned slayer of a thing. Can you give me an idea of like a common enemy we'll come across? And that lets you flavor some things. So this is like in Pathfinder Ranger, you have favorite enemies. You can take skills that are directly related to hunting down things. Like probably you're really good at tracking. You've probably got some good knowledge about them. And the best part is maybe there's a different, like you can make the same type of concept and flavor it just a lot of different ways. How about zombie dragon? Okay, but you're probably not just exclusively fighting zombie dragons. I also don't know if I would be as specific as dragon, because dragons are kind of a late game thing. And the intended thing is that you're not fighting them often, but like drake, whelps, drakes, wyverns, stuff like that, they all kind of fall into that category. I've learned alchemists are wild. Alchemists are wild. You can do a lot of stuff with alchemists. But depending on which one of these you want to go, like you could be a ranger who instead of is good at tracking, you're just really good at researching. Or maybe you don't like to research and also all of your experience just is by tracking them down and fighting them. Like you can make a ton of different characters even with this general skeleton. But once you know like all the abilities you're going for, that is what will help you flavor what you actually do. right? So like, let's say that you are a ranger who is still okay at survival, but the primary way that you fight your fights is through knowledge. Well, now, because you research a lot, you are definitely more cautious when it comes to engagements, because you like to know how the fight is going to go before you interact with it. So, because like, if I hear Dragon Slayer, I think of like big, bulky dude, like super armored, giant sword, like ready to throw down with a dragon, right? But instead, you know, you could be this little scrawny person with a bow and an arrow, but you know that because like it's a blue dragon, right? Let's say you're fighting a blue dragon, you know its weaknesses, you know its general tactics, and so you can ambush it when it's out on a hunt doing a thing, and it might be like a super easy fight for you. But that's only if you have time to set up. Versus if it jumps you, you're in a lot of trouble because you don't have anything ready for it, right? And so with this setup in mind, now you can kind of go in and like you can come up with a tragic backstory or not. I think that you do need to come up with a reason why your character's an adventurer and why they're doing the thing that they're doing, because otherwise you might get into situations where it actually makes a lot more sense for your character to just give up on adventuring. I've actually been in campaigns with that where like a situation has come up that is like everything the character ever wanted. So there was a character that was like a chef. All they wanted to do was fight stronger and stronger opponents. That was literally their only motivation, is they just wanted to, you know, they were traveling to fight new things and get cool new ingredients for recipes. And our campaign took us to one of the cities in hell, and the local demon lord was like, hey, what if you just fight in my arena? Like, the demons will pay to watch you fight because you're that strong. I'll pay you in new and exotic foods for every fight that you win, and you'll fight stronger and stronger opponents every time you fight. And like the guy playing that character kind of had a moment of like, huh. They couldn't think of a reason not to do it. Like it was exactly what this character wanted out of life. And so they did it, and they left the group to go be a pit fighter in hell. Kind of funny. So just make sure you wrote it like, and honestly, you know what? It's okay when that happens. Sometimes your characters do just peace out, you know? Sometimes it is like, there are times where it's totally fine for your character. Like if you reach a logical end to your character, sometimes it's nice to just let them go. Like let them do that thing. If you made a character that gets to a point where they genuinely would rather go do a thing, you know, your DM is probably totally fine with that. You know, it's like, okay, well, this character reached their life's ambition. I guess I got to make a new one. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'd actually say that's pretty fantastic. Not many characters get to live to, you know, feel real happy with life and things. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Just, I don't know, kind of funny. Oh, gosh. Good times, good times. Yeah. Yeah, that's just some ideas to think about when you're creating characters. I also don't like to go super far back when I'm making backstories, because honestly, if you guys think about life, I like to have a bullet points of important things, like, oh, my parents died. That's a real popular one. Or like, maybe I was down on life and I converted to this religion, right? Or maybe I, grew up on the streets and now my best friends are in like a thieves guild type thing. But the crazy thing about that is you can have all of this happen in like your formative years and be a completely different person by the time you're actually old enough to be adventuring, right? I like to build my characters in 3 stages. I have child, like young adult, young/young adult, and then actual adult, right? Because like, let's say that I grew up on the streets. Like I didn't have parents. It's not that they died, I just never had them, right? Or, like we're going back to our Dragon Slayer. Like, let's say that our village was attacked by dragons. So village attacked by dragons. And, it doesn't necessarily need to be that my parents died. It's like, maybe you just watched a lot of people died, because that can affect a child very, very heavily. So when you were old enough, you joined the militia. Joined the local village militia. But maybe they weren't doing enough, because they were just focused solely on protecting the town. It wasn't enough for you to just be a guard. You needed to go out and hunt these things. So when you're adult, that's where you transition to becoming a hunter. And in this very simple, like child, adult, or child, youth, adult pipeline, we have learned that, okay, so we saw a dragon attack. Maybe that's where they started accumulating knowledge. That's where they started to really focus in on learning about dragons. And then they joined the militia. So this is where they got their fighting skills. And maybe this is where they picked up their bow. Maybe they picked up a few other skills that are related to being in the militia. And then finally, they became a hunter, where they get like their survival skills. They get their tracking. They become good at noticing, so like perception. And all of a sudden, through just thinking about a character's life in just 3 easy steps, I know that I'd probably have knowledge about dragons. I'd have skill with fighting in a bow. Maybe skill with like armor. Like maybe I had to learn how to make my own arrows so I could craft my own arrows and things like that. Fix my bow from time to time. And then as a hunter, it's like, okay, I learned survival. I learned how to see things better. I learned how to track things. I learned, maybe I learned more about just animals in general, not just dragons. And now I have this whole skill set of abilities that I can pick for my actual character. All because I thought about wanting to be a dragon slayer, and I built through their life in just a couple steps. Like it really is that easy to get your base thing going off. What if they join the mafia instead? Well, you never know. You never know what can happen with the mafia. But yeah, that's just kind of how it is. So that's like my thought process when it comes to creating characters. Also, can everyone chat just, I want to test something, if you guys wouldn't mind. Can anyone who's here just put a 1 in chat? I'm very curious about something I'm seeing on YouTube's end right now. Because I think YouTube is super borked today. I kind of want to see. I need to see if it's just on my end or if it's actually on YouTube. Okay, that is exactly what I thought. Even just you 4 putting in a number 1 already like messed up the stream analytics a lot. Oh, hi Iris, how you doing? Yeah, okay. YouTube is super borked today, guys. It is super broken. It says 2 people are watching on my end. I think it's just busted, man. It jumped up to 6 now because I think people typed, but it's so weird. Like all the YouTube analytics have been absolutely weird today. It's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, that's my general thought process for creating characters and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of it. Welcome back, Dark Wolf. Now, obviously, you can go as in-depth as you want into all these different aspects. Like, if you really want to, you know, make your childhood super traumatic and all this shenanigans and write a 10-page backstory that no one's ever going to read, that's on you. That's on you. Inactive chatters do not count. No, they really don't count now. It's kind of funny. Sounds like a great system to build characters. Thank you. It's what I do. I don't think it's like really that fantastic, but it is, you know, it is what I do, and it works. How do you give your characters a weakness? Well, okay, it's easy. That's actually really easy. Like when you say weaknesses, so like going back to this example, so you know, we have knowledge, we're militaristic, we're good at hunting dragons. Well, what if we fight a big slime thing? Guess what? Our character doesn't know crap about this thing. It's a big block of slime. What do we do? We just have to, like, we have to fight it like with the skills that we have. The thing about Pathfinder in particular is when you're building out a character, you naturally have weaknesses. But you know, a lot of time it is fun to give them like a little bit of a flaw. Like what's their thing? So like for instance, going back up to Boris. Boris is blind as a bat without glasses. He needs glasses to see. I love him. But his thing is that he also lacks empathy, and that can cause problems with with people we're interacting with. He doesn't just magically become a people person. Like, he's very good at negotiating and he's very good at talking, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't have a lot of empathy, which causes problems with the group. And by the way, causing interpersonal problems is not terrible. Like that can be interesting if the group that you're playing with wants to get in on that, you know? Because flaws are what make people people. The fact that they're flawed is what is interesting about them, you know? So, you know, maybe like, for instance, Valtira's flaw was she refuses to harm anyone that was innocent, right? Boris was a character we talked about earlier. But so her flaw, so she's a super oath and vengeance paladin. She's ready. Her flaw is 2 ways. She will not harm someone who is innocent, and you cannot stop her from killing someone who is evil. Like, if her goal is to kill this person because they are evil, she cannot be persuaded. You will have to knock her out, which actually the party did once, because they wanted to make a deal with this clearly evil person that she saw no value in keeping around, but they did, and so they literally knocked her out so that the guy could get away, you know? Like, you can have a lot of fun flaws with your character. And, like, I acted all upset and angry about it. But, like, you know, I also talk to people like, no, it's just the character being really mad, you know? But, like, there's a lot of little flaws. The important thing is just making sure that you don't have flaws that just kill group participation. Because that's what really sucks at the end of the day. It's just like normal people. Like think about like your own flaws and like how that can be added in. And again, a lot of this, as always, depends on the group you're playing with, the stuff they want to do, things like that. But, you know, you just got to keep everything in perspective. Taking notes to not jaywalk besides. Nah, funnily enough, she didn't have as many problems with the, she didn't have problems with people on, breaking minor laws. It was like just the like obviously evil people, you know? But yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, I think we're gonna wind down there because I can feel my stomach starting to have issues again. And so I'm gonna wind down stream before that becomes a problem. But we'll probably do a bunch more D&D streams in the future because I like talking about this stuff. I'm thinking of ways that where you can like design something on stream. Like start designing an actual world that we work on from time to time to build out a fun, you know, a fun experience with everyone. Role-playing is hard sometimes, so these things are necessary guidelines to help with that. Yeah, role-playing is hard, and at the end of the day, there's really not one way of doing things, you know? You gotta try a whole bunch of different things, do things a bunch of different ways. And honestly, a lot of it is just trial and error at the end of the day. And that's all it really boils down to, you know? But, yeah. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it there for now, so this good old rumbling in my tummy does not become a problem. But thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. Sorry I was a little shorter today, but we had some difficulties earlier in the stream that made it a little hard to just go live. But if you're not in the Discord, you guys should definitely join it! !Discord. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I will talk to y'all later.